Hello. Hello, hello. There we go. Y'all, I think my OBS is haunted. Literally every time I open it, completely different settings. Completely different settings. How are we doing? Hi. Audio. Okay, OBS is something else. I am like woefully underprepared because obviously I wasn't planning to go live tonight, but I have something that I made that I wanted to share. And don't be mad. I have not fully watched the episode today because I was planning to take my time with it, watch it, and chat about it on Friday. But I did see Fat Love. And I will say the first thing that I thought of was Penny from Pee Wee Herman. Is anyone old enough to remember Pee Wee Herman? Because it like moved in the same kind of way. Let's see if I can get a video so you can see. I love Penny. I loved Penny so much. Let's see. Here we go. Here's one. It'll probably get claimed, but I don't really care. How is everyone? Just getting through this ad, and then I gotta pull it up. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I mean, Pee-wee's Playhouse is so good. And it definitely holds up. All right, so web. Of course not. Okay, that's fine, actually. That's fine. I actually love it. It's actually exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, here it is. So here's Penny. Let's see if you're actually able to hear it, too.
Hi, I'm Penny. I'm going to have a slumber party. My mom's going to be at the slumber party, too. Oh, she's going to give us ice cream cones and popcorn, all sorts of stuff. My friends are going to give me some long tip markers. I'm going to put up a sign that says, "No boys allowed."
Okay, so that's Penny. And yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw Fat Love. It was like the same way her mouth moves and everything. So shout out to Undead Mummy for that. I love it so much. So I want to talk about Snark tonight. And it's timely, obviously, because of everything that's happening. But also I'm like 5 minutes off a conversation with someone it was just very disappointing because they are, they're someone that I think is really, really smart. And they, have kind of bought into the Ethan stuff. Like even he did kill his dog with cheese. It seems like, even though they kept saying, well, I'm not an expert in this and I don't watch the show. It's just really interesting to see how assertive people can be about the wrong thing when they think that the person who is on the other side of it is doing good in the world. I mean, because it comes down to like, oh, well, this person is fighting for Palestinians, so that outweighs them lying about people that disagree with them. And don't disagree about Palestine, right? Like, we all want to fucking free Palestine. I don't know. It was a bummer. I had a feeling that it was going to be that way, but that's okay. No, I cannot share. I mean, it's just a someone I know in my real life, not an online person. They're a fan of Taylor, and I was like, I was too. I was too until the DM that she sent me. But I guess my personal experience and the knowledge that I have just from being like a huge nerd about this show was not enough to...
You got mail.
Thank you.
Man Jack gave $19.99. This man Jack rules. Family.
Thank you so much, Jack. I really appreciate it. All right, let me get live chat going so I can see everyone's lovely messages. The entire time Ethan was talking about how he starts, a sentence and has no idea where it's going at all. All I could hear was Michael Scott. I'm so glad someone connected that on the show. Oh, 100%. Yeah, so I am, I'm catching up on the show tonight, but I did want to share a couple things before it's like too late for me. My bro was playing a game with a random 20-year-old kid, and he out of nowhere said Ethan is on coke and his content was bad. Someone in my comments said it's obvious that Ethan's on stimulants. Like, but it's not, because you don't know that, and you've actually probably never done stimulants. Like, what are we basing that on? Like, he always like starts ticking more during important segments. It's like, tics are literally triggered by anxiety and big emotions, and he's talking about his like literal friends that don't mess with him anymore because of stupid shit. It's crazy to think you wouldn't have uncovered all the Taylor stuff without that DM conversation. Yeah. That quite honestly sums it all up. I agree with this political point, and therefore anyone else loves genocide and kills their dog, and they can't listen to actual facts. Yeah, and like I didn't want to be pushy, right? Like I was just trying to like give the information I have, and they weren't being pushy either. It was like a very polite conversation, right? But I could tell that, you know, their mind was made up. And then they looked at my YouTube and were like, wow, you make a lot of videos about Taylor. And I was like, I made a couple, and it probably looks like a lot because I just started, you know? Like I made one video about her. I made one about Contrapoints and her. Because that's of interest right now. And then, you know, being told like, well, it's not really the most important thing to focus on. Again, it's like, as long as they support Palestine, they're just allowed to lie about people who also support Palestine. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because, as y'all know, I try to keep an open mind and, you know, think about the reality of things, but it's like I keep running into very smart people who just like if they don't know what's going on, they tend to take the side of, I don't know. It's just really frustrating. It's upsetting because we're progressives and understand inclusivity. When it comes to disorders like Tourette's, I can't figure out why Snark folks are suspending reality. Because it's like I've said a few times, like the ends justify the means to a lot of people. And okay, Kat says, I've lost a lot of friendships over this. I wish that wasn't the case, you know? And it shouldn't be. Contrapoints is going to get attacked by leftist snarkers soon. I'm sure she already is. And this is why she hasn't said a lot on the topic. And like the person I was talking to was like, oh, you know, Contrapoints. I mean, Taylor was extra in Contrapoints' thread, but like not to an insane degree. It's like, okay, I didn't say that she was being insane. So she posted in her subreddit today about her thoughts on Israel-Palestine. Contrapoints did? Let's see. Thoughts on IP. All right, let's read what she has to say, because I have a feeling, well, I would say based on the fact that I really enjoy her content, I think she's really smart. I've agreed with her on just about everything so far. So I'm going into this thinking I'll probably agree with what she has to say. Also, I'm absolutely joining her sub. You never know. So we shall see. Let's read this together. Browser. Here we go. I'm posting this to Reddit instead of Twitter, hopefully to minimize fragments being clipped out of context. Sincerest apologies to the mods. She's just so totally understands the internet. Okay, so many leftists feel betrayed because I haven't made a video on Palestine. That's the thing, like, everyone's just holding each other to these standards. And it's like, where did this come from? Like, who decided that these 2-3 online leftists are the ones who tell us what we need to do to prove that we are pro-Palestine? You know, like, it's crazy the kind of power they think that they exert over people. Do they actually want a Contrapoints video about Palestine? And that's the thing, like, Natalie doesn't make like short videos like these other people. She'll spend like a year doing research on things. And it's usually not on a very pinpointed issue. So like, why are we expecting every single content creator to do the same thing? Like these litmus tests are so fucking stupid. Do they actually want a video? No. Will they be happy if I get in the bath and pour milk on a mannequin of Benjamin Netanyahu? No. I have posted about Gaza occasionally and have quietly given money to Palestinian aid organizations. Same. But I think what leftists really want is for me to join their chorus of anger. 100,000%. I love her already. They sense some hesitation on my part and are judging me very harshly on my presumed opinions. I'd rather be judged on my actual opinions, so here they are. And they will. Because already you have stepped away from the agreed upon narrative, the line in the sand, the party line, just by not doing exactly as these few streamers say should be done. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. Okay, this right here would be what I've seen called just paying lip service. By saying there's a genocide, by saying they disagree with it and they want it to stop. When 6 months, a year ago, more than a year ago, because this nightmare has been going on forever, they were mad if you called it a war, if you called it a conflict, if you called it anything besides a genocide. That was the goalpost. The goalpost was, you love genocide if you don't call it a genocide. So now people call it a genocide, and it's, oh, well, you're a genocide lover because you're not talking about it constantly and making a video that we approve of and running your content the way we all are, right? Like, the goalpost has moved. Originally it was, you need to say you condemn this. You need to say you condemn Israel. You need to call it a genocide. It's not these other things. It was all this, like, the semantics was huge in the beginning, if you remember. Don't say it's complicated. Don't say it's complex. Genocide isn't complex. And this was like very early on, right? And then once people are like, yes, it is a genocide, I agree, then it's, you're not doing enough. You're just saying that. You're just paying lip service to a genocide to like absolve yourself of not performing your activism out loud enough. Like, they just want a reason to keep being angry and to keep being hypercritical of other people on the left. And it's driving me nuts. Okay, here are the other things Natalie's feeling. Doom. The week after October 7th, it was clear the mood among Israeli leaders and civilians was overwhelmingly kill or be killed, existential panic, and unstoppable lust for revenge. I was just about to say, it reminded me of the U.S. after 9/11, 1,000%. And I will say, I was a dumb high school freshman, and I was like, we gotta kill the terrorists, you know, like just so scared, and also had no idea what I was talking about. So I understand that a country that has been attacked in a very violent, specific way, not saying that they haven't been attacking Palestinians for decades now, right? But this was like the biggest terror attack in Israel in a long time, right? People are gonna freak out. Like, can we just talk about the human behavior, like the sociology of it for a fucking second? Without everyone assuming that if you say that, if you like have any understanding for the way Israeli citizens felt, that means you love genocide. Like, it's so fucking frustrating. And the fact that these people are supposed to be like the intellectual leaders of the online left, and they have no... Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
$1.99. Which rules? Everyone go like the line.
Thank you, Witch.
Points is the count.
What's the... Oh, this is like the Gen Z one, right? It's so weird. This is the millennial, which I think is cuter. And this is BTS. Yeah, well, okay, I wasn't planning to go on this tangent, but let's go on this and then we'll talk about Snark, because it is somewhat related. It reminded me, there was no reasoning or protesting them out of it, right? Nor was it politically feasible for the U.S. to withdraw aid to Israel on a time frame that would make a difference. Exactly. It would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. And that's the thing. They hate incrementalism, these leftists, right? These extremists. They hate incrementalism, but they have never once shown what the method is for overthrowing this government or replacing all these people or having a new system. They've never shown what that would be. There's no clear path. It's literally just, we want to destroy everything and then figure it out later. It's completely unrealistic. And if you say that, then you love genocide and you're a corporate shill. What they are talking about, a revolution, is not like a one-day thing. They're not just like accelerationists, they're also terminally online. So they think that everything happens like this, even a revolution. They think a violent revolution is going to be faster than voting in new members of Congress. Sure, if you kill all of them, is that what you want to do? And then what? What's the next step? To me, it's the difference between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. What is the plan, Bernie? I love your ideas. And I think you and Elizabeth together would have been fantastic because she had the numbers. She had the plans. She had the multi-year schedule of how to get things like universal health care, universal preschool and childcare and things like that. How the super millionaire tax would roll out and how it would work and how much money it would bring in over 5-10 years, right? Why is that like a liberal thing to have a fucking plan? In my opinion, you are not interested in progress at all if all you're talking about is Israel shouldn't exist. Okay. But it does. Right? So what the fuck do we do? Congress is useless. Okay, what do we do? Oh, well, voting is pointless. What's your plan? Say it out loud. What is your plan? Okay, it would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. Even in the best case scenario, it would have taken years. Just like I said, it would have taken fucking years. Just like a revolution takes years. Let me look up the French Revolution. How long do y'all think the French Revolution took? I'm bringing up the French Revolution, A, because I speak French and I've studied French history, right? And let's see. I don't know how long it took. It started in 1789. Okay. Okay, so it started in May. Are they saying it's May was the march? Okay. Let's just do a little history dive and then we'll go back. We'll go back so we can all learn this together. So it started May 5th, 1789 and ended November 9th, 1799. The violent revolution. The overthrowing of the government. Took a decade, half a generation essentially. 10.5 years to overthrow a government. I'm sorry, you need a fucking plan. Like, I mean, okay, and that's 10 years, right? And then let's do the Revolutionary War. 1775 to 1783. 8 fucking years. 8 years. Can we stop acting like you can just blow everything up and have like an anarchist paradise without doing any hard work? Like, that's, even though it starts violently, it's still incremental change, right? And there was nothing but instability in France for decades. Emperor Napoleon, absolutely. Third time's a charm? Like, do you know who thought that a violent revolution would solve everything in a day? The fucking January Sixers. Those people had no plan. Right? They thought that they could just like intimidate, hang members of Congress. Who knows what they would have done if they actually got a hold of people. And that would have what? Changed the election? Like, what are we doing? Can we stop acting like it's an intellectual take to just be like, Congress sucks, America sucks, we just need to fucking start over. Okay, get started. Throw the first brick, bitch. Like, what do you want? And then what is your plan? There are almost 400 million people in this country. What are you going to do? Show me a plan. Let's fucking go. I want everything to change too. But I don't buy into like the anti-intellectual take that we can do this like violent revolution and have like a fucking utopia in what, a year? What's the timeline? Because history is not on your side. Years and years and years. Revolution is not fast. Revolution is not a fucking Twitter thread, right? We live in the age of instant gratification. Exactly my point. I mean, and we can look, I want to see like in the Caribbean, the Haitian Revolution. Actually, I was just reading 1791 to 1804, 13 years. Apartheid, what would we call it? Revolt? We'll just do South Africa. Jesus Christ. Apartheid in South Africa. Oh, that's not what we want. No fucking way. Internal resistance to apartheid took 45 years. But we're supposed to just blow up Israel and merge everybody together overnight. And what? Just let God sort them out? Like, are we not about harm reduction? $45 years? And like, and guess what? Mandela had a plan. What is your plan? All right, let's go back to Contrapoints. I'm sure we will get down more rabbit holes because she's so good at bringing up things from the past in a good way. Even the best case scenario would have taken years, so there was a sense of futility, yes, but worse, misery. The leftist pro-Palestine movement quickly decided that their primary goal was not merely opposition to the genocide, but opposition to Zionism in general. That is, opposition to the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. And here they decided to draw the line separating decent people from genocidal fascists, which had the following consequences, 100%. I can't tell you how many times I saw, genocide's my red line. Whenever you were like, hey, maybe no civilians should be fucking killed. Or you brought up like, I think Trump winning might make things worse. Genocide's my red line. That's why I'm not voting. Yeah, it's mine too. That's why I am voting, you fucking dumb bitch. Okay. It shrinks the coalition. God, she makes so much sense. She makes so much sense. Zionist is a very broad category. Most Jews are Zionists. Anyone who supports a two-state solution is technically a Zionist. Yes. Again, politically infeasible, but these people are just not worried with like actual reality. Not only are they not worried about actual reality, they also aren't interested in like the logistics of creating a new reality. It's just destroy everything. Which to me is a fucking cop-out. It's a fucking cop-out because then you don't have to think about things. So to just be like, genocide's my red line. And to use like, say from the river to the sea and that's your plan. That's a fucking cop-out. You feel like you've done your part, you've said the right thing, but you have no plan. You have no interest in a plan. You just want to burn everything down, and you want things to not exist if you don't think they should exist. That's not how it fucking works. Not when there's millions of people involved. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state? Oh, according to them, just let down your borders. Just let down your borders and then it's done. I guarantee that these are the same people, and I was agreeing with them at this point, who were mad about the way the U.S. withdrew from Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Of just like leaving this vacuum behind of destruction and just being like, see you later. You guys can figure it out. That's literally what you're asking Palestinians and Israelis to do. What is the plan? You don't fucking have one. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society, which is what they apparently want, but then what happens next? Do you think that's good for anybody? And I don't mean like globally, because I don't care about the fucking nuclear shit. What I'm talking about is like the actual people. Involved in this situation, the infrastructure involved in this situation, like how society fucking runs. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. That's what I don't understand. And these people are acting like they are like high and mighty, that they know best, that they are the most intelligent, the most well-read on history and apartheid and genocide and all of this shit. And yet they come from fucking referencing Nelson Mandela's violent resistance to apartheid, forgetting about the fact that it took South Africans fucking 45 years to overthrow apartheid. And it's still not perfect. Right? Like, do they think that this is some magical historical event, some magical geopolitical crisis that isn't fucking complicated? Because they don't want it to be complicated. And so they just kind of opt out intellectually and say, genocide is bad. Duh, bitch. But what do we do about it? Of course, all I hear is Howie when I say that. Nelson Mandela would be an H3 Snark if he was here today. And I actually have Snark to talk about, but I'm really enjoying reading through Natalie's thing, and I want to share it fucking everywhere. Anne Frank would have been a believer, and she also would have been a Houthi pirate killing innocent civilians on a fucking cargo ship that has nothing to do with Israel. Okay, also, the other consequence of saying that Zionism is... we need to oppose all Zionism in addition to genocide. And again, that's moving the fucking goalposts, right? Initially it was, it's a genocide. You have to call it a genocide. It's a fucking genocide. Okay, yes, you're right. It is a genocide. It has reached that level because words mean things. It has reached that level in multiple ways. It's also tons of war crimes, right? But then it became, oh no, that's not enough. You also have to hate anybody who considers themselves a Zionist. In Hassan's own words, anyone who has even a remote good positive feeling about Israel should basically be like lepers and outcasts, which is funny because that's what happens to Jews throughout history, right? They're forced to like live in the fucking woods outside of town. But this time around, it's different, right? This time around, for some reason, just like every time, they're right about the Jews. It introduced dangerous ambiguities. The vagueness of Zionism as a political Satan enables all kinds of rhetorical abuses. On the one hand, right-wing Israelis hold up all anti-Zionist protests as existentially threatening and inherently anti-Semitic. On the other hand, there's a long history of anti-Semites using the term Zionist in deliberately unequivocal ways. Anti-Semites are happy for the opportunity to misappropriate the now popular anti-Zionist label to legitimize their agenda. Right. The hitchhikers. We've talked about them on a couple streams about a couple issues. These people that just hitchhike on a movement, the extremists that hitchhike on a movement in order to disseminate their hatred, right? They're like a fucking parasite. They see a way to survive and thrive and multiply. They take it. Many people are not informed enough about anti-Semitism to recognize when this is happening. And why is that? Because there are such a small number of Jews in the fucking world. Like, when it comes to all the religions in the world, Judaism is so small that a lot of people haven't even met fucking Jews. The fucking Jews. A lot of people haven't even met Jewish people. And I didn't really realize that until I was like out in the world, right? Because I grew up with, I mean, a lot of Jewish people from a lot of different Jewish backgrounds. I just happened to be that way in my area. You know, different faith traditions and all of that. And I saw growing up, like, how people talked about Israel and what Zionism meant to them. And it was all different. All of them had different ideas about it. And their parents had different ideas than they did, right? So it's like, there are parallels I want to draw, but I won't. But basically, it's like, a lot of people are making assumptions about Jews based on the way that anti-Zionism is being pushed right now. And they do not have real world and real life experience and context to put those stereotypes against. Right? Yeah, wow, you hate Palestine. It's just like so fucking annoying. It's so intellectually dishonest, and I don't understand how very smart people keep believing this shit and they keep supporting it. And like, I understand we all want this to stop. But to me, you're opting out. You're opting out of the discussion. You're opting out of like a potential solution. If you just say genocide's all that matters. And if you disagree with me, then obviously you are a Nazi. And everyone in Israel's a Nazi, and everyone's a Nazi. Every Zionist is a Nazi. Like, you know what I mean? It's the thought-terminating cliches that are driving me nuts. Meaning the things that these leftists say that just shut down conversation. Genocide's my red line. You're a genocide defender. You're a genocide apologist. You can't say anything to that. You say, no, I'm not. Like, pfft. I forget what it's called, but I genuinely think that leftists are getting clouded up from this, are getting positive reinforcement for the violent rhetoric, and their audience grows. Yeah, I think so too. Thank you, Minola. I lived overseas and was often the only Jewish person people would meet. It was difficult not to feel pressure to be an example. Right. How could a whole nation of people be evil? That's the thing, right? But then you'll see, I mean, they'll literally say, like, they're culturally, like, raised to be evil. Hate sells just as much as sex. Amen. Shout out Haley's comment. Oh, everyone go follow Haley. She makes amazing stuff. She's linked in my description. Okay. Dread. This is another thing she felt as a result of all this shit. The online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos and videos of dead Palestinian children. The main effect of this has been to create a population of people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. There's nowhere for them to do it, so they're just taking it in and then spewing it at each other. I fear this may be worse than useless. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are conceptually not the same, and conflating them is dangerous, especially if there's no outlet, right? When people feel helpless and desperate, they love a scapegoat. That is literally how Hitler happened. Germany was like completely economically depressed, humiliated, embarrassed after World War I. And all Hitler had to do was be like, it's these guys' fault. It's these guys in the little hats. And they were like, oh, thank God it's not a moral failing on our part. In practice, the way Israel is perceived does seep out into attitudes toward Jews in general, 1,000%. Look at all these posts on Instagram that are like, if it's like a Jewish person talking about being Jewish at a fucking bar mitzvah, at a, I don't know, like being openly Jewish, and it's just free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, or like happy Hanukkah, free Palestine. You're being anti-Semitic. You're being anti-Semitic. Unlike Hassan, this is not a gun, by the way. I don't think Jews who feel isolated and wary in the current atmosphere are simply hysterical or hallucinating. Me, neither. Yes, there's communal trauma and hypervigilance. Yes, there's disingenuous right-wing ghouls dismissing and censoring all criticism of Israel on the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. Absolutely. ADL, fuck you. Deborah Messing, fuck you. Right? There are people who are hitchhikers for Israel. Just like there are people who are hitchhikers for anti-Semitism. It's happening on both sides. But the leftists are deciding to paint everyone who questions the whole anti-Zionist thing or wants clarity as this fringe group, the ADL, right? That, Ethan's best friends. But there's also a valid fear of historical anti-Semitic patterns recurring. Yeah, it's called like generational trauma that's being triggered, and people who like remember what it was like last time because it hasn't been that long. And that fear gives power to the right-wing Zionist claim that only Israel can keep Jews safe. Right. Because what happened, this is like what she said earlier in this, when people feel scared, under attack, backed into a corner, sometimes they get a lot more patriotic, right? We saw it after 9/11. Freedom fries, flags everywhere for years, right? So it's understandable that that Jewish people around the world who are scared of what happened on October 7th, and also scared of retribution for what Netanyahu is continuing to do in Gaza, which is disgusting and horrible, right? It makes sense that they don't feel safe. To some degree. But then also it's like, Jews aren't even safe in Israel. Right? Does this mean Israel should not be criticized and sanctioned? Absolutely not. But it's something I don't want to risk contributing to if not outweighed by tangible benefits. So I approach the issue cautiously. Well, you're not allowed to do that, Natalie. This is the internet. You have to make a snap decision, and you have to triple down on it. And if it's not the exact opinion of Hassan Piker, then you love genocide. I'm sorry, Natalie. You are a genocide lover. The fact that he actually uses that phrase is so fucking cringe. Oof. This video is not going to be monetized, that's for sure. Bitterness. Much of the online left spent all of I need to stop and just like have some gratitude for Natalie. I am so glad that this is her opinion because I respect her so much. I love her content so much. And I will say that especially today, I was feeling insane for having these takes. And this is exactly how I feel. So seeing someone that I know is so smart, who does her research, like the deepest research I've seen on YouTube. I'm sure there are lots of others. This makes me feel a lot less crazy. I hope y'all are feeling the same way. Like the streamer Hassan will dox you with a gun. Oh my fucking God. As a mod saying that. Nice. Okay. Bitterness. Much of the online left spent all 2024 single-mindedly focused on Palestine and the complicity of Democratic politicians in sending aid to Israel. No focus on the Republicans doing it. And even now, how much are they saying about Trump? They're still just talking about the fucking Democrats. and what cucks they are, right? The campaign that they were on had the following effects. 0 Palestinian lives were saved. Not one fewer bomb or bullet was fired by the IDF. It may have slightly contributed to the re-election of Trump. I'm glad you said slightly contributed. There were a lot of factors. I think that I see a lot, specifically in like liberal or like moderate Democrats saying like, this is the leftist fault for not voting. There weren't enough numbers of leftists who like voted for Jill Stein or someone else. Fuck Jill Stein, by the way. To have made the difference, right? But did the people who were promoting Jill Stein and the other candidates, did they encourage? Did they nurture? Did they cultivate a sense of pointlessness when it comes to voting? Because there were like 20 million people that just didn't show up this year that were eligible to vote, or 20 million less than last presidential election. I think that's hard to quantify, right? And it's hard to know where it came from, but I know that is a pervasive feeling in the leftist community, that voting is pointless. The Democrats and Republicans are exactly the same. So who the fuck cares? Let's burn it all down. But I'm actually just going to sit here in my fucking bedroom and not do anything except yell at other lefties online. Okay. It may have slightly contributed to the re-election of Trump. Smash that like button. Guaranteeing that the U.S. will put no diplomatic pressure on Netanyahu for at least 4 years. And making protests against Israel both much riskier and less effective. But these people just want to stay mad, so they're probably fine. They've got enough rage for the next 4 years. Trump is also incidentally a menace to me and basically everyone I care about. Same. A perfectly enlightened being would feel no bitterness about this, but I do. I feel the same way, Natalie. None of this is the fault of the Palestinians, of course, who are overwhelmingly the victims here. I hope that someday American policy will shift in their favor, and I will continue to support that cause. The good news is it seems like the tide is turning in favor of doing more for Palestinians. And unlike in the past, we now have the internet. We have a record, right, of everything that's happened. So it can't just like restart with the next generation or restart with the next Israeli presidency. But who knows? Netanyahu's been fucking president forever, right? So I think that's good news. I think there's progress, but it's never enough for these people. And if you say, and if you try to like celebrate the small wins, they're like, you love genocide. It's not enough. We have to burn it all down. Okay, you first. Show me where we go. Show me what to do. What's the plan? What do we burn first? Right? Like, where are we starting? Organize literally one thing. No, I just want to yell from my computer and, get other people who are less mentally stable than I am to go out and burn themselves to death or shoot random citizens. Which, again, none of that has helped literally anyone. TLDR, I see the situation as bleak, intractable, extremely divisive, and devoid of any element that could be appropriately transformed into political entertainment. That's why I haven't made a video about it. It's so interesting how many videos people like Hassan can make out of this, how much content they can squeeze out of it, how much political entertainment they can get. Hopefully it goes without saying that these are just my thoughts. I'm sure other bread tubers have different opinions. Well, we know that is true. So shout out Contrapoints. Obviously, I love her. I love everything she does. Genuinely just obsessed with her content. And this is exactly how I feel. So yeah, I don't subscribe to the idea that Hassan's version of leftism is the be all end all, right? Like I refuse to believe that he is the one that decides, or that this group of people gets to decide what leftism looks like. Because I consider myself, I would say, progressive to leftist in that spectrum. And I reject the idea that this guy is in charge of what we're supposed to believe, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to interact with each other, and how we're supposed to fight for the end to war and capitalism and everything else that's fucking terrible. Which is why today I tweeted, reminder that Hassan doesn't own or run the pro-Palestinian movement. You can support Palestinians without licking his weird cloven boots. Because all of these people are doing is eliminating allies one by one. I am certain as soon as Zohran Mamdani wins the election, which I hope he does, he will be the next shill, the next person they hate. Because they don't know how to... They don't understand people getting into power and then having to, like, make compromises and work with people. Because they're fucking antisocial losers. Speaking of antisocial losers, let's talk about Snark. They are barely left-wing. What did Hassan do to prevent fascism from taking over? Nothing. They were so focused on genocide being their red line that they let someone get elected who is now fucking throwing thousands of people out of the country. Oh, well, Biden, like, just fucking stop, bro. You know, this is terror. Like, this is terrorizing. This is not what Biden was doing. This is cruelty. It matters. It matters that this is more cruel than what Biden was doing. Can we fucking get a grip? There's no evidence that Trump won because leftists didn't vote for him. Yeah, I know. I think that was a small piece of it. I do think that there was a lot of voter apathy that was put out by leftists, and I don't think that helped. I'm also not entirely convinced that some shady shit wasn't going on, to be honest. Like with Elon and Trump. The fact that Trump won every single swing state, I'm still not... I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but, like, that just seems, like, impossible to me. But who fucking knows? So, yeah, shout out to Natalie. It's, like, a much more nuanced take. And I don't think it makes her any less of a leftist, if that's what she considers herself. I don't think that makes her a bad person. I don't think it makes her pro-genocide. Like, just what a fucking... I have had, like, thousands of conversations over the last 2 years or year and a half. Oh, God, it's almost 2 years. It's so awful. With Jewish people, with Zionists, with anti-Zionists, with liberals and progressives, with Muslims, with Palestinians. Like, I've had so many conversations because literally anything that I post, either one group of people gets angry or another. And so, but it does breed a lot of really important conversations that I've had in private. And that has all helped me come to essentially the same conclusions that Natalie has here. And yeah, Sarah, I totally agree. The Democrats fucked everything with the whole Biden thing. Just like RBG, Biden should have never run for a second. He should have never run. The lack of strategy from this party is embarrassing. It is so disgusting, and I'm so sick of it. They ran his campaign all wrong. They tried to do like all this fear mongering, which was valid, right, about Project 2025, because yes, it's all happening now, but people are like fried on outrage and fear. Like, if we look at like how Zoran won in New York City, that's not what he was doing, right? He wasn't like, Andrew Cuomo's a sex pest, you know? He talked about the things he wanted to do for the community, and he like mobilized voters, and the Democrats never fucking did that. And I will say, like, even now I'm disappointed in the Democrats, because they've said like, oh, we're going to be reaching out to internet personalities to like that are progressive or Democrats to like try and get a foothold on the internet, which is like, you're like at least 10 years behind Republicans. They have been pulling little shit stains out of college at like 19 and putting them at Breitbart, putting them at Heritage Foundation, putting them in the fucking White House, and putting them online in a bunch of different ways. So they say that, and then I'm friendly with a bunch of political commentators on Instagram, right? Political influencers, creators, whatever the fuck you want to call them. None of them have been contacted. And these are like some of the bigger political creators. So like, what are we doing? I too wish things were going more quickly. I too wish that the fucking boomers would retire and let millennials get more of a foot in the door in Senate and Congress. I wish 80-year-olds stopped fucking running for president and just enjoyed being 80. But what do we do? Burn it all down? Okay, like I said, where do we start? Who do we burn first? What do we burn first? Where are we going? Like, what is the plan? Revolutions take decades, 45 years, 10 years in France, 8 years in the US. It's not a one and done. It's not a let's burn it all down. Like, that's a cute thing to say, but then what the fuck do we do? Right? And I don't think saying that means you're not a leftist. I don't think saying that means you're not anti-genocide. It's like, can we just have a fucking plan? Because we've seen how no plan works for the Democrats, right? The Republicans are thinking like decades, generations into the future. The stuff that's happening with Project 2025, the stuff that's getting done now, is going to impact us for decades. Think about all of the Supreme Court seats that they got in order to overturn Roe v. Wade. That was years and years and years, multiple presidencies in the making. Where is the plan, Democrats? And where is the plan, leftists? Signed a progressive that just wants to know where we're going. And to also not feel like I'm the fucking enemy, right? Like, it's so crazy. I'm surprised it took this long for mass anti-Dem sentiment to fester on the left, doing nothing after owning the White House and Congress. Leftists have always been anti-Democrat. I mean, I showed... What was it? I mean, I've seen it multiple times, like in a lot of different ways, but like most recently when I was reading through like Hassan's old tweets, since he is kind of like the mouthpiece for the left, he was like trying to recruit neo-Nazis while shitting on progressives and liberals. Like, they are more salvageable than us for some reason. I don't understand. Like, you're more disappointed in us. And I really do think it's a narcissism of small differences thing. And it doesn't fucking help anybody. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm just so exhausted. And the thing is, if you have the opinion that I have, if you have the opinion that Natalie has, if you have the opinion that Ethan has, the left is just like, you're not one of us. You're not worth collaborating with. You love genocide. You're a shill. You don't believe in like a better future. And it's fucking bullshit. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from arguing with people I agree with on literally everything. Just because my idea of how to end a genocide is different. It's like actual incremental progress and harm reduction and not just Israel letting down its borders. Like, that's just fucking insane. It makes no sense. I think it's a cop-out. I think it's like, I understand that people are so upset and so scared and so angry and they just want it to be over. But I hate that that's not going to happen. I don't know what we do. But shitting on everyone who like disagrees with strategy is, I don't know. It's just really upsetting. And yeah, I'm exhausted because I've been doing this for like 2 fucking years of just like I've had fights with Zionists, right? But I'm just like, and I'm talking like the hardcore Zionists that like think Israel should like absorb everything and that, you know, no one is more under attack than Jews, right? Right now. It's easy to be like, we're not going to agree on this, right? And just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But when people I actually like respect, agree with on things are like fighting with me, it's really hard for me not to fight back and like really talk about it. I think what happens sometimes that muddies the water in the other direction is that often there are Zionists who are literally pro-genocide. Oh, 100,000%. Like that's a piece of Natalie's big post. Sarah, I don't know if you saw this. I read through it before. Yeah, there are hitchhikers on both sides that are using this issue, and it's just, like you said, muddying the waters. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh, this is what's up next. All right, so let's talk about Snark. Let's talk about something that's less important, shall we? So recently, I've been called anti-Semitic, and then I've also been called a genocide lover for the same opinion that I have right now. I've been told that I am an Israeli operative, that I'm being paid by the Israeli government. And then I've been told that I love Hamas. Like, what are we fucking doing? Okay, so recently, shifting gears, the narrative about people who watch H3 is that we are incels. That seems to be the term that people are using a lot. Like Kat Tenbarge has used it, Anissa's used it, other people have used it, right? To make it seem like we're misogynists and that we're just like this group of like, you know, boys in their parents' basement or whatever, right? So apparently I wasn't the only one being annoyed by this because personally I love being a married lesbian incel in an audience that is 60% women and 40% men. One of my subscribers did a little bit of a data mine on leftovers H3, which is one of the current open H3 snarks. As we know, or maybe not all of us know, the leftovers H3 grew out of the Trishy Land stuff, because that became H3 Snark. And then when they got, scared out of that one, they went and formed Leftovers H3 and like 10 other Snark pages. They also took over like mainstream subs that needed moderators and just turned them into anti-Ethan subs and put out all kinds of disgusting shit. Right? So this viewer wanted to see if the real incels were in one of these communities. And now take it with a grain of salt. This is a small sample size, right? Because it's not always easy to discover how much or discover someone's gender just from their Reddit account. But I liked their approach. I asked them to give me their methodology and any like caveats or anything. And they also sent me their actual data, but I'm not going to show it because they rightly wanted to keep the Redditors private, which I totally agree with. So I won't show you the names and the ways that this user verified their gender, but we will talk about that. I mean, this is just a little thing, and then I want to show you something I made about Snark. So, according to this viewer who did this work, this is a little bit of data on the demographics, the gender demographics of non-burner accounts on Leftover H3. Their main takeaway, as of yesterday, July 8th, is that it is a community dominated by men 20 to 40 when looking at those who make their gender clear. It was 35 posters at the time of me receiving this information yesterday. And as we know, we have learned from other people doing data on these subreddits that like 20% of the community members are the ones that make 80% of the posts, right? It's like a very small, dedicated group of people that do the most posting. And that includes comments and actual posts. So the results so far, again, very small sample size, but so far, 22 men, 13 women. So that means almost 63% men, 37% women. And this is just the basis of, these are the unknown ones. I'm actually let me add these in because I asked for how many unknowns there were, because I thought if there were like a zillion unknowns, then that would like totally fuck the data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, she labeled them. This is amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the top posters. Let me add this in. Beautiful. And now we can update this. Okay. So 9 of the top posters are unknown. Their gender is unknown. So that's 44. So that's like a sample size of like 44 people, right? 9 unknown. So this is what we have. And here is how they came to this information. Oh, let me zoom this in for y'all a little bit. My goodness gracious. How's that? Is that better? So the criteria, these were accounts made before January 2025 because they learned through their research, which they've been working on, I think, for the last 2 weeks. This was just like a question that they had and they decided to dig in on, which I love. Accounts made after January were pretty obviously burner accounts, right? Like those are the ones we see popping up with no history, no other posts, no other comments, right? These are top contributors in our leftovers H3 according to Reddit badges. So that was the criteria that this viewer used to confirm that these people were they were the top contributors in the community. And it means that they were in the top 25 of posters and commenters. Also, they have posting history outside of leftovers. I love this qualifier because, like they say, it indicates that it's not a throwaway account that they just made to, spam a bunch of stuff on leftovers H3. And then they disclose their gender on their profile in a post or comment or through linking to external accounts. And they said that they didn't dig too deeply on this because that felt really invasive, but if their gender was easily found from like a single link, then they attributed it to them as potentially one gender or another. Some notes. This is not an important note, of course. These are posters. This is the majority of posters, not necessarily the majority of lurkers, viewers of this Snark sub. And they used hot posts on the sub to determine who was posting the hot subs the most, or hot posts the most. And they said they're fairly confident that all of the top commenters or top contributors are adults, but not able to 100% confirm that. But one example was a 30-year-old man saying, "Ela looks like a cadaver." Lovely, right? Lovely stuff for a 30-year-old man to be saying about a woman. But we're the incel misogynists, So yeah, like I said, the data that I was given is a list of accounts with their name and a link to the confirmation for their identified gender and potentially their age. And they said a lot of the posters have really nasty post history. Like one primarily got his start posting in our cleavage. So like whose cleavage was he posting? That's gross. But it also felt invasive to go through what were sometimes personal posts, and the main info I wanted was simply gender. This was the least invasive way I could think to present what I saw when lurking our leftovers H3 while still showing evidence. So that's just an interesting ongoing. Let me just say thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay. So it's more than that. Hang on, let me update. They wrote young next to things. Oh, no, then that's fine. Young just meant on the list that they gave me that their account was young, but not that they were young. So it's, I errand you. Nice autocorrect for thank you, Jesus. Okay, so there's that. Very interesting. In my opinion, it's interesting because it kind of shows who's doing the grossest stuff over there. Our cleavage, right? I love looking at the post history of snarkers. I never go that deep. I just found this interesting just because of like the fact that everyone's calling us misogynists and incels now. Snark sounds like too cool of a name. Let's call them the roaches because they scatter when you turn the lights on. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so there's that. And like I said, I haven't caught up on H3 today. I have to finish watching it. Did he talk about Adam and the whole ice thing today? I'm assuming so, since it was all over his stories like yesterday. I like that. I fuck with that. Did he talk about Adam at all? No Adam today. Interesting. Okay, so I won't do a ton of it. I will say, obviously, no one deserves to have ice called on them, right? No one deserves that. Ice should not exist. And nobody should be using government agencies to exact online revenge on each other. It's so stupid. Thank you for subscribing, Samantha. And not but Adam tends to be one of the most publicly snark-brained creators, right? Like, he's shouted out Snark. He's done all kinds of weird stuff on his tour having to do with Hila and like flicking her off and being like, fuck Hila in front of the whole audience. It's awful. Yeah, I did see the Dean Withers thing with CPS. That's on my list potentially for Friday. But I will like to say I called it. I said, I hope I never hear that guy again. I didn't like him from the start. I'm sick of the internet just catapulting prepubescent men to stardom as if they're like God's gift, specifically white men. So this is what I was talking about when I said that thing about Hassan, where I was talking about the audience he cultivates and how easy it is for that audience to turn on you, right? What's happening to Adam happened to Trisha fans, right? We've seen that, which started H3 Snark, and this is one of the kind of sadly predictable conclusions of being that deep in a community of hating people, right? There is no honor among thieves. And as I was writing up what I wanted to say about like Adam's trajectory and what's happening now with Adam, I started like seeing it visually. And so I made a little infographic about Snark and what I call the psychology of Snark, right? Obviously I'm not a psychologist, but I did want to share this. Oh, and first, before that, I saw this on the subreddit and I thought it was really funny and cute and nice that people like my lesbian tangent. Also, I lost these glasses yesterday, so shout out to my glasses. I gotta get new ones. They will probably be similar because I love these glasses. Rip. I don't know where they are. Okay, so here it is. And I will post this on... I'll probably post it on the subreddit so people can see it. The Stan to Snark... Or, you know what? Let me just open it. Open a new tab. And then I'll just zoom-y. The Stan to Snark pipeline. Okay, are y'all ready? Buckle up. A person becomes famous. They amass a diverse body of fans who love them to different degrees, right? All kinds of different people. Some people are casual lovers and viewers. Some people are hardcore. And then there's these guys. There's these guys here in the back. As in any community, literally any community ever, right? A small percentage of this star's fan base is more extreme and emotionally dysregulated in their love for the celebrity, right? It's happened to literally every celebrity since the beginning of time. That there are just like people who the parasocialness goes to a different level, right? And they are like so personally and emotionally invested that it's like it's unhealthy and scary. It's not just like a fun affinity for a creator, right? And they've got all different kinds of emotions and they're all out of whack and unregulated and just leaking out of them all over the place. And here is the problem, and this is the problem that I see with Adam and Hassan, who doesn't moderate his chat very well, right? Instead of setting boundaries for these stans, the celebrity encourages their behavior because it validates them. So for a while, those super dedicated fans, it feels so good. It feels so good to have someone care this much about you and to kind of like validate why you're famous. Like, oh my God, like this, I deserve this. I am this lovable, that these people are so invested in me, right? It's like a huge ego boost to have these people who are just, oh, I need to fix that. I didn't put little squiggly brains on all these people. To have these fans who would do anything for you, right? Not everybody wants that kind of fame. Not everybody wants to be seen that way. I certainly never fucking do. But there are people who love that stuff. And because of that, they put these people on a pedestal. They reward them, either with like insider information or more intimate connections. Like think of Colleen and all of her like little underage kids that she was like in DMs with, right? Like these stans, these extreme fans are given more access. They are rewarded for their behavior because it makes the star feel good. And then something happens. This is always how it goes, right? Then there is a rupture. The celebrity does something to upset their fans. They lose followers, including some of the extremists. Not all of them, but some of them go away, right? We've seen this happen with literally everyone. Again, Colleen, Trisha, Ethan. They lose a bunch of normal fans, right? That are just like, oh, I'm done with this. And they also lose some of these guys. These people usually just go on to lead a normal life, right? They maybe find another creator that's entertaining to them, or they decide, I need to log off for a while and go live in the woods or whatever, right? I'm going to go like hang out with my family instead of being online all the time. But this is where the snark brain grows, because the fandom was very, very important to the stans. It was their entire community, or a huge part of their like social life. Their extremism and emotional issues make it hard to sustain friendships. And that's why the community was so important to them, because it was a place they felt smart and wanted and appreciated, especially by someone famous, right? Like they are validating, this star is now validating me and telling me that I'm okay, right? So it creates this like intense loneliness where these extreme fans are like they're homeless. They don't have anywhere to put all their big feelings anymore because they feel so betrayed. They feel so betrayed by their favorite star. Again, completely parasocial, right? So here's the problem. They start a new community because they want community. They miss it, right? But this time, the community they form, it's just them. They find each other because they're all feeling that anger, that outsized irrational anger at the star. So all of these people are gone. And who's left? Who's craving that same kind of community? It's all the people who are dysregulated and emotionally immature, right? And angry. And looking for somewhere to put all of their big feelings. There are no moderate voices left to bring perspective or curb the antisocial behavior when they see it. Because back when it was all y'all, back when it was a bunch of people, if this guy posted something weird in the Reddit, other people would be like, that's like wicked parasocial, my dude. Or like, that's a weird thing to say, right? Like there is some moderation coming from the majority that sort of keeps this person in check. It's like, oh, all of these people think what I said is weird. Maybe I do need to like take a little bit of a break. But not anymore. Now it's a free for all. Now we're all just activating each other, right? We're all just spewing our anger and our resentment and having a gay old time about it. And then they realize that once they found each other, they need a place to direct their ongoing dysregulation, and they have one thing in common, right? They were all abandoned by, rejected by, in their minds, this person, this star who loved them, who gave them, all this secret and intimate access to them. I thought we meant more to them, right? They all had the same anger. That fallen fan anger. So what they have in common is being angry at the same person, and that becomes the sole purpose of the new community that they built. Let me move myself so you can see that, or move this up. From watching all these different Snark subreddits begin, this is what the path. This is the path that seems to make sense to me, like how it happens and why it happens. Because in addition to like the Snark communities, you can see these like emotionally dysregulated people in groups that you're in, right? Like I can see it in like the trailer trash Tammy groups, right? There's people that are just like oversharing, saying way too much, asking really intimate questions about Chelsea and her sisters and everyone else in the crew, and having like really weird takes, and also like being like highly critical. You'll see it in any group, especially an online group, because people have less inhibitions to say weird shit online, right? So to me, this is how Snark happens. Again, yes, the gaslighting for sure. I am not a psychologist. I am just someone who has been in a lot of online groups through the years, and I've seen this happen. Like I've been this person. I've been adjacent to this person. I've joined a group that like did a lot of this stuff, right? Never like the insane shit that's happening now. And this was like years ago on Facebook, right? But that was the Snark pipeline that I built. Let me scroll back and see what y'all are saying. I'm the yellow guy, of course, Alex. Who created this chart? I made it. I made the chart. I made it myself. Would love a psychologist take on this because it feels spot on. And I will say, like, this is the shit that I was hoping that Taylor Lorenz would want to do. To, like, look into the... Did someone just give me money?
You've got mail.
Thank you.
Wake Up Maggie gave $9.99. Wake Up Maggie rules. Been following you on TikTok for ages.
Oh my gosh.
I love that you had a reasonable take on the H3 situation. I've been loving the YouTube content. Smiley face emoji.
Thank you so much, Maggie. That's so kind. Thank you so much. But yeah, when I reached out to Taylor about H3 and like the CPS stuff, I was like, yo, you got to cover the story. Like there's so much here, and there's other Snark subreddits that are driving people insane too. Like this felt like a huge story to me. And then, that didn't happen. That's fine. So I decided to just put my thoughts into a little graphic here. And hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Okay, back to reading comments. Snark is a hell of a drug. Yep. Kate, let's make Snark pages for each other to get ahead of it. If I see a Snark page, I'm gonna be so pissed. I think that I don't want to know what's happening. And this morning I did a little like mini live while I was having breakfast, and people were asking about Discord. I mean, like, yeah, start a Discord. And I was like, I'm not on Discord enough to understand it. And because I had just finished making this Snark pipeline, I was like, it feels like those like super dedicated communities can turn so fast. And I don't want something in my name ever upsetting people to this degree, to any degree, right? Because there's going to be like infighting and people like getting weird, and I don't want to do it. So I have to think about it. If I'm going to do it, it'll be later on when I have more followers and maybe when I'm doing this full time. That would be amazing. And it would be highly moderated, you know? And that'll probably create a Snark meta. And that's going to happen anyway. So kind of scares me because I remember Ethan saying one of the Snarkers is a person studying to be a nurse. That doesn't surprise me. There's like a whole meme on TikTok about how nurses today are like the mean girls of high school. No offense to the actual cool nurses, of course. Incels were started as a support group by a woman. Oh, interesting. What do you mean? In the Discord. Anyone else in Loner Box's community how is his? How does he run that? Because he's so smart. I like him a lot. I agree with you about the Discord. Always seems like drama starts there. Make it an NSFW Discord. Just go full toxic. Yeah, let's just make that the Snark. And we'll snark on everyone else. What do you think of something like Fundy Snark that goes after Christian fundamentalist influencers? It's a community full of ex-Christian fundies. I would say that is probably full of people with a lot of religious trauma and a lot of other kinds of trauma. And so I'm almost positive that circle is at some point cannibalizing and has a lot of infighting and stuff. Just because of the nature of their connection is being unhealed, right? Is being traumatized by something. And so they're in it and they're attacking people for the right reason, right? They're like trying to dismantle things. But I imagine I think any snark that's like going after specific people is tricky. Because the people drawn to that are usually not very well. I have to know favorite sound bites. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. It's like when someone asks me favorite movie, my brain just gets like wiped. Completely wiped. Justin says, I caught one of his streams where he held a trial for one of his active members for being kind of crazy. This is Loner Box? Ethan started Snark and got deleted. Yep, Trishy Land got deleted, and now Adams got deleted after like 5 days since the ice thing, which it should be. But like, what is the double standard? My sun sign, I am a Pisces. Pisces. I'll think about the sound bites. Am I Alex, are we doing the soundbite thing on Saturday? If so, you might hear some of them. I honestly love when Zach plays farts. Not the diarrhea fart. Not the one that sounds like diarrhea going into like a metal bedpan. But I do like the fart a lot. Okay, yay. That's the first one on my brain right now. But, oh God, there's just so many. Why can't Adam be more like Philo? So true. It is so gross. That one is so gross. I hate this fart sound bites. You're canceled. It's time for a fart snark. Fart snark time. Yay, I got a subscriber. Oh my God, that one's so funny. I mean, shout out to his family is also really funny. One of the snarkers goes by Sarah Orne Jewett, an American author from early 1900s. I wonder if she is a graduate student. Sounds like it. Sounds like it could be. That's some nerdy ass shit. The grandma's pubic hair gets me every time. That's a good one. I love the brap one from Trump. I do find myself saying I love Tesla a lot. Unfortunately. I love Tesla. Mostly my brother has a Tesla. He's not an Elon guy, but it's just it's a cool fucking car, which sucks. He got it before Elon went insane. So whenever he's talking about the Tesla in my head, I'm just like, I love Tesla. This is what I'll say about Trump. He should have never run for president. He should have like taken over for Joan Rivers doing like the celebrity red carpet shit. Because that man, yeah, he can read a bitch. Oh my God, Carlos. Oh my God. BitConnect. I feel like the BitConnect one always makes Ela laugh so hard, which I love. Oh, what else do I like? I only take it right on my chest. I like that one too. I never did. That's a good one. And I like, yeah, I did, just because it makes Dan really happy. Oh, Bo Black's ones are so funny. Bo Black's ones are so good. This is why I'm watching. Just like the way he screams is just so funny. Oh, I got called a cook. Oh.
You've got mail.
Yo B, Juby, gave $10. Yo B, Juby, rules. As a student nurse that was bullied by the cool kids in school, I try my best to emphasize empathy. It reverberates into a lot of parts of our lives, even politically. Amen.
I'm sorry that you were bullied. And I'm glad that you are a nurse who is going against the supposed stereotypical tide, you know? Big giant dumps. Yeah, there's just so many. All right, homies. I'm going to go watch H3. That's what I'm going to do. So you might see like tweets from me and stuff, but thank you to the viewer who sent me that data. I find that stuff really interesting. So if y'all find yourself going down a rabbit hole and you want to share it, let me know. And if it looks cool and it looks valid, I would love to talk about it on here. Have a good night. That's another good one. Yay. Thanks y'all for being here. Friday night is the next real after party where we will talk about the actual show and other things that I come up with during the week. I have so much shit to talk about, just like backlogged. I really, really wish I could just do this full time, but we'll work on it. We're getting there, right? We're figuring it out. Okay, everybody have a wonderful evening, and I will see you on the other side. Bye, friends.